everyone, and welcome to CVTV episode 3. So today I'm going to be talking about my songwriting process. Now, I've been really excited to talk about this. As a musician, songwriting is so important, and I'm currently in the transition where I play covers a lot at gigs, but I'm wanting to kind of go down the more original artist route. It's taken a bit of time, but I'm slowly building up my songs. And I've been working on this one for how long? Probably about 6 months. I think I wrote it originally in the car. So I had a melody come to me in the car, and then it completely changed. And then I came home, sat on the piano, and it turned into a completely different song, which is basically my songwriting as a whole. I think that I've got an idea for something and then it just completely changes. And this song is called Dirty Laundry. Now, usually with my songs, I write about love or I write about friendship, and I don't tend to really write about much else. But when I had these lyrics, I felt like I should write about a toxic relationship. And I'm not in one myself, you know, me and my fiance were getting married in June. But I thought, oh, this would be really cool to write about. And I kind of honed in my skills, like from watching TV shows where there was that couple in the, you know, like, and they had a bit of a toxic relationship. And I thought, oh, this would be really, really fun to write about. And so what ended up happening was I was in the car driving along with Matt, my fiance, and I usually carry a journal in the car and I always have my phone for voice notes. But on this occasion, I was the one driving, and so I couldn't just whack out my journal while I'm in traffic, you know, driving along. And so Matt says to me, oh, you know, if you've got lyrics, I'll record you on my phone, I'll hold it up here. And I was like, great. And I had this, these lyrics, I don't really know if I'm honest, feeling kind of low, but I promised I'd be flying higher than I ever was before. I'm heading for the window, you're heading for the door. And I knew then that it was about a toxic relationship, and I had to write about it. And I remember I had not really a tune for it. I was a bit like, oh, you know, what is this going to look like? And so what I always do when I songwrite is I then, as soon as I have lyrics, I go to the piano. I don't actually write on guitar very often. I tend to move the songs from the piano to the guitar because guitar is the instrument that I play live. And so I kind of sat down at the piano and I thought I wanted it to be in the key of C, and I was kind of there and I was like, oh, you know, this sounds really good because it's quite mellow, and I was like, I want it to start like this, and then I was kind of playing around with the notes, so I was a bit like, and I thought, that's quite cool. And then I ended up coming up with, and then that became the melody. So I don't really know if I'm honest. Oh, I did that wrong. I don't really know if I'm honest. So that was it. That became the hook and the bit for the chorus, and I thought, this is fantastic. And then what I ended up doing differently was the next part of the chorus goes, I'd be flying higher than I ever was before, you're heading for the window. Decided to go to D minor, I'm heading for the door, then back to A minor to then go into the verses. And originally there was a pre-chorus that kind of built the song. But I was a bit like, do you know what? I don't think it needs a pre-chorus. And I remember I showed the song to Matt and he said, I don't think it needs a pre-chorus either, actually. I think that you could just end with the verses as you did. So the verses always ended with questions, and then that would flow so nicely into the I don't really know, because it kind of answers the question. And so that is what I ended up coming up with. And the song's chorus and the verses, so the chorus was always the same, I was not going to change the chorus, but the verses kind of changed about 4 or 5 times, and that's completely normal. So what I do is I have certain books, I don't know if anyone else is like this, so I've got my Captured Memories EP, my Seasons EP, and then an EP that I'm probably going to call By Now, which will be released in 2022, that's the plan, but I don't know yet. And Dirty Laundry I actually wrote in the By Now book, because I was like, yeah, you know, it's going to take a while to finish this song. And then what ended up happening was I was sat at my laptop and then I just started writing these lyrics, and I realised it would go really well with Dirty Laundry, and I was like, I'm literally going to finish this song, I know it. And so then what ended up happening was I came up with these lyrics. The skeletons are dancing in the closet. They only do that when you're dishonest. And I loved them so much. And then I decided to do an octave jump. The skeletons are dancing in the closet. They only do that when you're dishonest. I don't really know. And then it goes back into that. And that was my favourite bit of the whole song. Like, I was so attached to the chorus, but now the bridge for me is the amazing part too. Because what the direction that I wanted to go with the song is, one person wants to try in the relationship, but their actions aren't reflecting it. And then the other person wants to believe that they are trying, but it just doesn't feel or seem like it, and so they end up leaving. And I know that there's plenty of songs about breakups, but I wanted to write about the part where it's leading up to the breakup, and then you get left with the I'm leaving out the door, and then that's how the song ends. And like I said, I really didn't have any plans really for this song. The only thing that I did want to kind of make it about was a toxic relationship. That was all I had. And it all started from this nice and simple. And so my advice to any songwriters, this is just how I write, is always play around with chords. Always have, you know, a bit of play. You know, sit there and come up with some creative things. And you don't always have to write, you know, the verse, the chorus, the verse, the bridge. You know, sometimes you'll just get a line, and, you know, that's basically what I got. I got the I don't really know. You know, that could be about anything. I could have made that about, like, chicken nuggets or something like that. I could have made it about anything, but I didn't. I was just like, okay, I think I've got this in mind, but I'm not sure yet. And as I've said before, so any of you who watch my C vlogs or have seen any of my advice will know that I always say, always record on voice notes. You never know with songwriting, and there's never a bad songwriting idea either. Like, sometimes you'll play something. Like, I remember when I played, so my song Since You Left, I've been betting myself that things will change, but this love for you, it never goes away. Don't think those are the chords. I literally know it on guitar and I haven't played it in a while. But literally that song I wrote a year ago, and I hated it. I literally didn't want to write it, and I was like, oh, you know, I don't like it at all. I'm not going to use it. But I left it in the Seasons EP book because I was like, do you know what, I might use it. And then a year later I came back to it and I loved it, and I was like, yes, I can write about this. Like, this is amazing. I've been betting myself that things will change, but this love for you, it never goes away. And again, you know, I wrote the song Since You Left about, you know, someone leaving and not getting closure. And again, it was something that I didn't actively choose to write about it, but it ended up happening. I ended up just kind of putting down these words on a page, thinking they were really bad, and then when I showed the song to people, they were like, this is amazing, like, this is a really good song. And I was like, oh, okay. But I think that's a good thing to do as well. Show other people your songs. I show them to my family and to some of my friends who I trust. And, you know, they give me their brutal, honest opinions. Sometimes they say that's good. Sometimes they go, you know, that could use some work. And like I said, never throw any lyrics away. Always write them on your phone. Always record them on your phone. And as I said, when I perform live on guitar. I don't tend to on piano, like very rare occasion, even though I will be adding piano to my set soon. But, you know, most of the time I write on piano because it's easier to find the melody like that you're looking for, and you can kind of visualize it a bit better. And then once I've found it, I'll then be like, right, now I can make the, you know, put the chords on guitar and do like a little rhythm. So the rhythm on guitar is like with a in the middle. So kind of like a, I don't really know. So it's kind of like that. But if I'd have written it for piano, it wouldn't be like that really. And so, you know, that's why it's good. Experiment with instruments and don't be afraid to. And also don't be afraid to, you know, write songs about whatever you want. As I said, you know, people could listen to Dirty Laundry when I release it and go, oh my God, you know, it's about a toxic relationship. Are you in one? And I'll be like, no, I just wrote it because I wanted to, because it seemed like a cool idea and the hook just fit really well with that vibe. And, you know, just don't worry about what other people think or what other people say, and just write for you. That's what I do. And ever since I've taken on that approach to my songwriting, I've been so much happier. I'm not worrying about other people. I'm not writing for other people. I'm writing for myself, and it's very, very fun. And so, I'm trying to think what else I do with my songwriting process. So I've actually only written one song during COVID, and that was this one, Dirty Laundry. I've written little bits here and there of others, but they kind of haven't really worked out, or they're still in the book. And then when I go back, I'll probably find them and say, I want that. Like, I'm going to write a song out of that properly. And so, you know, I feel like I did put a lot of pressure on myself to write for a long time, but now I just do it because I want to. And it's a lot more fun. You know, there's no pressure to release a load of songs during this pandemic. You know, everyone's motivation's taken a massive hit. So just don't put pressure on yourself. As a musician, it's so easy to get discouraged and to feel bogged down and to just think, do you know what, I just don't want to do this. And that's why it's so important to have self-care days, to have a break. You know, I think I went like a month without playing my guitar at one point, but then when I came back to it, I was so happy, and I was like, oh, I just needed that time, you know, just to have a break and just to detach a bit. So yeah, like my advice would be take breaks. There's no shame in taking breaks. And when you do songwrite, just, you know, experiment as much as you can, play around with keys, you know, and just don't be afraid. I think those are my top tips. Not that this is a top tips video, but you know, that is what I would I would say. And yeah, with my songs, they're always just very simple chords, a few changes here and there, and I want the dominating force to be my voice, and the lyrics. That's probably the most important thing. Growing up, I used to listen to Avril Lavigne and Taylor Swift, and they were huge idols for me. And a lot of the time, I'd play their songs, and the chord progressions were really, you know, chilled out. But then the lyrics would be incredible. So like Taylor Swift's song All Too Well is one of my favourite songs in the world. But it's literally just the same 4 chords, this. But the lyrics are just incredible. Like, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece. So you tore it all up, running scared. I was there, I remember it all too well. How you call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. And like the lyrics are so powerful. And so listening to that growing up, I was always like, oh, you know, lyrics and melodies are they're just so important. And so that's how I write now, you know, influenced and Avril Lavigne. I remember listening to My Happy Ending. Oh, so much for my happy ending. Oh, so much for my happy ending. Like, oh my gosh, that song was, I used to have it on repeat all the time. But again, like, the chords are just, you know, a great key to have it in, and then, you know, the lyrics just engulf you. Like, you know, you're there listening to it and you're just like, oh my gosh, so many feelings listening to a song. And that's basically what I want to convey when I'm writing. Like, I want people to listen to the lyrics and the melody and go, oh my gosh. One song that I've been listening to recently is Olivia Rodrigo's Driver's License. And it's just such a powerful song. Like, the feelings and the emotions in it are just incredible. And so, you know, when I write, I want to do that as much as I can. And I don't think I've really shown that off yet. I haven't written a song that's kind of like that just yet. But I think that I will. I think that it's coming slowly. But Dirty Laundry is definitely a start to the kind of lyric-wise what I want to go for. And then after that, I guess I'll just keep writing and see what I come up with. You know, I definitely want to write a few more happier songs. And I think I definitely will. Like, you know, I've wanted to write a song about my friends for a while, and I think that I will soon. You know, I won't just write heartbreak songs. I'm going to mix it up a bit. But yeah, that is my songwriting process, and that's how I write. You know, always start on the piano, go over to guitar, you know, get the lyrics down, and that is basically my songwriting process. And I mess around with notes and see how I go. But sometimes my songs take an hour, sometimes they take months, and then other times they take a year. And so, you know, I never time limit myself. I just kind of go, do you know what? When it will get finished, you know, it will write itself, as they always say. And it literally does. You know, one minute you'll have a few lyrics and, you know, you won't do anything with it for months, and then you'll come back to it and you literally sit down and write the whole thing. That's just how it goes sometimes. But I definitely love songwriting, and I think that it is so fun, and a way that I certainly express myself and have done with the songs that I've already released. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope that this has been, you know, enjoyable to watch of how I write songs. As I said, Dirty Laundry is a track that will definitely be coming to you guys very, very soon. And I'm working on a few others, and then my Seasons EP hopefully will be out in September. As I said, as a musician at the moment, it's a bit tricky, but you know, it'll all work out. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you next month, where I will be making cupcakes, which is one of my favourite things to do. Baking is my second love down from music. And then I believe episode 5 is gaming reviews, so I'm going to be streaming with my friends and reviewing some games, so that should be really, really fun as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and see you later.